Hello, and welcome back to the Schmitter's 100 Acre Woods. So what we got going today is basically cleanup of this final stint of the South Trail. So this is where we took the 62 and kind of got this temporary road going. So it's fairly rocky, not super flat. With that 62, it's hard to get too flat. So we brought the little tractor today with the grader box, and we'll grader box all this out, get it kind of nice and smooth, and then work on getting this graded back out as well. So I got over this hill. There's kind of a dip and then goes back up. We'll be able to take some of that and bring it down here. And same here, bring some of that this direction and kind of flatten this all out. So then coming through, this is kind of what it looks like right now before we get grading. Probably put the tines down and really work on ripping this side down and kind of putting it downhill. When walking it, it's really not that far of a distance, but with how much dead stuff there was in here and some of the bigger trees, would have been a lot of work with the little tractor. Even with the big tractor being able to use the grapple, it was quite a bit. That then gets us back around to our trail before. And like I mentioned, what we'll do is take and probably with the tines down, a little bit of both, or the tines and the front end loader, just starting eating the hillside and getting this widened out so it looks more like that back there. And then remember the map that I had? So the old one had kind of a jog down, so it went down and then across. So by shortcutting it, this is what I mean. Instead of going down and out, we just went straight across here. Eventually, I think this tree in front of me is dead, so we may end up cutting it down eventually, but for right now we're just going to jog around it and then eventually work on taking it out and getting all this straightened out. So main efforts today is just to get this final stint from here out to there kind of graded, and then work on the piece back there and get it finalized. When we come to the property, typically have a plan of kind of what we want to do. Well, today I knew Dad was going to use a small tractor to grade out the south path area that we worked on last time, but I hadn't exactly figured out what I was going to work on in the otter. So I think what I'm going to work on, at least for the first little bit, while he's eating some of the hillside to bring down, I'm going to work on collecting some of these rocks. So as you can see, I have some pretty decent sized ones here. Gonna work on collecting up some rocks and coming around the side of the dam that we built up. So as you can see, we have some that's washed away, that's kind of fallen in, and then this washed away whenever we had a big rain. Uh, our long-term plan is to put a bigger pipe in here. So dig all this back out, put a big pipe in that's just above kind of this current level, so that whenever we have really big rains, it's kind of an overflow. So we have kind of an idea on how we want to kind of do that. So that's going to be later down the road, but we do have a plan on how to fix this, just because long term it's not going to be a great solution. But what I'm going to work on today is, like we did here, we're going to have this lined with stones. All the stones I'm picking up in the Otter, I'll work on lining this bank around here. So I'll probably start over here by this pipe that we have as the overflow now, and kind of work backwards, kind of work around that direction, and then maybe try to pull out some of the weeds and stuff, and then work a little bit this direction. We still need to build that part up over there a fair amount, so I may just kind of go a little bit just to get this bit covered. But I figured the rocks that I've been pulling, so a little bit of rock in that is not too bad. But some of these really big rocks that don't work down, or don't crumble under the little tractor, end up just being big humps, and then whenever you go to try to grade it and get a smooth grade, you're pulling up these big rocks. So normally I just kind of collect them and toss them to the side. I figured it'd be a good opportunity. I could collect them and then start doing this face here. So should be able to get just to the side of where that's sunken in, drive the Otter through here, and get right there, so I don't have to carry those too far, and just start lining this, and we'll see how far I get. Okay, I'm not quite done, but here you can kind of see what I've got. So I've tried to pull some of the stuff out, but left a little bit of the greenery. That's what it looks like. So kind of dual purpose here. It holds this bank from sliding, so I try to put some down in the water a little bit and then stack up the bank. So here it's a little bit further down to the water, so I think it's going to hold a little bit better. There's some bigger rocks in there, and I may have to put some further down just kind of help hold, but we'll let these settle in. But it holds it, but then also looks nice. So instead of just having the grass grow, have this, and then hopefully not as much of the grass will grow up in between it. The side of a tree split out, so I've just kind of been working on cleaning up that while Dad's working on grading. Just got a call from him that he stirred up a ground bee's nest over there. So I was just about ready to head back over and give you guys an update of kind of what it looks like. Hopefully his camera is still going so I can kind of show you, but maybe I'll come from the other direction and show you a little bit. But around the other side, so need to come retrieve the chainsaw, but while I'm doing that, hopefully I won't get too close to the ground bee's nest. It's up that direction. I think the chainsaw is just before that, but I figured while I'm going through, give me an opportunity to kind of show you what we did. So obviously not finished because I'm going to grade this out, but kind of widening this out. So we did just have a path big enough for the tractor, so we're kind of eating the hillside out here to widen this out. And then there was a pretty good raise up and then go down, so you can see all that we ate here. So got that. Filled in. So I have this filled in here, so that so we can widen this out, but then also fill it in so it's a little bit smoother. And then just in general, kind of doing some widening through here. So see, the ground bees right now looks like they've settled back down, but he said he did flip their nest up, so stirred them all up. But the idea here is just kind of take some of the hillside to flatten it out, make it look more like that through there. So just putting some of the finishing touches on the south trail here. And as you can see back that direction, have the opening that we have under the power line. So hopefully they will move on so we can kind of finish up this path like across the property. Then this is the path that goes back around to the other side of the pond and up the hill to the south trail. So it's kind of in the shade, so it may be difficult to see. But basically, down here, we built all this up. So it was all down there where you kind of came down and then went up a fair amount. But what we did was we put in, I don't know, probably 4 feet of dirt. So we just took it from the hillside over there and brought that all down. So that's what I used the otter for, to load it and just bring that in here, be able to drive and lay it in, and then he can come through and grade it every now and then. So he's working on grading this and the other part of the path now too. We had kind of just a couple of ruts and a hump in the middle, so with the tines down, he's able to just drag and kind of break all that up and get it smoothed out. Do a rehash of kind of what we got done today. So started out by working up at the south trail and basically just getting the finishing touches on that, just getting it graded out and working on kind of the in-between section, getting it leveled out a little bit. So had some interference with some ground bees there, so didn't get it completely finalized like we wanted, but there's only another hour or two of work there, just kind of eating the hillside and doing some grading back and forth, just keep working it to get that leveled out. So anyway, got that. And then the other project that we worked on for a bit since we got beat out was so on the way back. So you have the split where the trail that goes back across, and then the trail that goes back around to the other side of the pond where that south trail is. So we worked on, there's a pretty big hill down and back up. So we worked on taking some dirt from the top of the hill in one of the spoil piles and just working it down. So it's one of those situations where able to put a couple of loads in the otter. So even though it was, couple 100 feet away, able to put a couple loads in about 3 of the scoops of the little tractor in the back of the otter, and I was able to layer it in there, drive and dump and put in quite a bit, and then he could come down and grade it out. So worked on getting that raised up a fair amount just to help alleviate that big drop and back up. So got that done as well, and by doing that, also at the top of the hill there, then widen that path out so that it was right next to a walnut tree. So open that up so we're not right next to that tree. So fairly productive day. Didn't get exactly done what we wanted just because of the bees, but got a fair amount done. And the other thing got done was over there at the pond, putting some of those stones around the side, so it kind of help hold that bank, but also kind of make it look a little bit nicer. So it's one of those things. It's free stone that we have at the property, so might as well utilize it. So that's done today. Thank you for watching, and hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.